Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jim. This video is a final assembly of my wooden Blade Runner blaster. Feel free to skip ahead for pictures from the build and final shots. Hey, so starting off, I'm a huge fan of Blade Runner and was wanting to make my own blaster. Not wanting to spend, $1,500 on a replica. And since I'm a woodworker, I decided to make mine out of scrap wood that I had already in the shop. Just a quick rundown. It's mostly cherry, which is this dark reddish wood. We got some walnut here. We got some oak in this sections, which didn't polish up quite as nice as I would have wanted since it has the large growth rings. So these are kind of different densities of wood, and you can actually feel them as you go. So I don't know if I would have gone with that the next time. Got a little maple in here and in the trigger. It's a really nice hardwood, and I always felt like it would kind of hold under the stress of being those triggers. And then actually a little red heart here for the LEDs in that front section. It's probably hard to see, but it does have a more reddish tinge than the rest of them. So how I started was I purchased these scales from a builder off Etsy, and then I basically used that as the template and as a way to find the scale of all the other parts, and kind of built this, sketched it out. This is way back in June. It's now the end of July. I was using a lot of picture references. This is the WorldCon blaster from the first Blade Runner. Let's try to match kind of the overall aesthetics, the proportions, to make it as accurate as possible. I was also using these for the screw references, which I'm going to build now. So here's where we're at. It's all glued up. Actually, any of the fasteners I'm using don't really add a lot of mechanical strength. It's more the glue that holds it all together. So I'm just going to go through and put these screws on. And since the screws are, brand new, straight from Ace Hardware, I'm going to kind of weather them as I go. So I was kind of thinking about what's the easiest way to do this. I wanted to get a lot of these started. And in their proper locations. Before I did any of the weathering, but I also didn't want to screw them all the way down because I was worried about getting some paint and stuff onto the actual wood, and then it might be difficult to remove that later. A lot of these blackened screws are pretty good look for this Blade Runner, but anything that's silver clearly does not work in the Blade Runner universe. So this is Rub and Buff Ebony. I'm going to start with that. and basically just use that to darken down some of these screws. Really wouldn't make sense to be bright silver in a world that rains constantly. And then some of the black components wouldn't be perfectly black because they'd be, have some wear and tear. So then I'm going to take some of this metallic finish. Really what I'm going for here is just kind of the edges. Show that these things have been beaten up over the years, and the finish that they came with from the factory is starting to wear off. And again, layering on black back on, some grit. Black's really not sticking well to the silver, so maybe these parts are going to be a little bit more silver than I intended them to be. Had to go to Ace Hardware and get a bunch of different screws. And for the grips, I had to chop down 2 smaller screws since they kind of both meet in the center. And I didn't want the screws to bottom out onto each other. Gotta make sure the hands are clean because I don't want to get the grips all dirty. This side of the gun I didn't do as much work for. I figure this is going to be the non-show side. It's also why I signed this back underneath the grip there. She is. All together, kind of feels great. It's not super heavy as like a metal one would be, but like it gets the what I wanted to get across with the sketch from way back. It's a pretty good match on the overall plan. So a lot of these this is a turned piece. I got the bolt in there. That's a separate piece of maple inside the cylinder there. This is a walnut piece for the reload mechanism. Pretty good sight matching. All this is kind of carved. There's an oak dowel that runs through. There's maybe some gaps here. I filled some of the gaps on this side with some wood putty just to make it look a little less seamless, or more seamless rather. Yeah. But there she goes, Deckard's Blaster, Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, really excited about this piece. So this is the build slideshow. I started off with a set of grips from a builder on Etsy and made a sketch based on that. The main body and trigger guard were from a piece of maple with a walnut sleeve. And here's fitting the double trigger, also made from maple. I had turned a piece of cherry into the top muzzle insert piece, and there it is with the two muzzles. Then there's a maple dowel on the insert for that bolt, and here's a relief cutout for that maple bolt. So here it is starting to come together. I was fine-tuning the shapes with a Dremel to get everything to fit just right. And then some final shots of the blaster. This is a really fun project and really love how it feels and looks. And then my attempt at a little K cosplay. And final shout out to Adam Savage and the guys that were tested. They were a huge inspiration for this build. Thanks for watching. Let me know if there's any questions in the comments. Bye.